Hi, welcome to Understanding Conscious Cryptids with me, Khat Hansen, your host. Hi everyone, it's me, Khat. Welcome to Understanding Conscious Cryptids. You know, today I thought I would talk about just how ancient the Stayama sand people, Sasquatch people, whatever you want to call them, really are. I get a lot of people asking me different questions about them, so I thought I would do like a Q&A. I know I've done quite a few of them in the past, but you'll notice that the pictures that are in this video are a little different, and it involves some pictures of them, and it also involves some old, very old artifacts that are involving them. And I find these artifacts to be really interesting and to be really credible, despite what other people may think. And the reason for this is kind of twofold. And there goes my phone. So we need to deaden that right away. It seems like I can't get away from people contacting me. It just never, ever, ever works for me. So I'm going to mute it, I guess. Okay, so back to the lesson here. Anyhow, these artifacts are very credible because, as I said, to me, they show me just how ancient these beings are here, especially on this realm. People don't usually take into account the Crespi artifacts, and that's what these are called, Crespi, because they're named after a Franciscan father by the name of Father Crespi. And these artifacts were given to him by the natives down in the jungles, and they didn't really know what to do with them, so they would bring them to him and he would exchange them out for them. So he has just literally thousands of them. He has passed away, and I'm not sure exactly because I don't really follow the information, but I'm not sure what has happened to all of these artifacts. But they are really quite fascinating and really quite telling if you study them at all. You'll note that there are some pretty interesting things here showing just how important the Stayama people were, how basically terrifying they were. Obviously, they had to be taken into hand or go to war with, I would say, according to these artifacts. You can see the man carrying the head of a Stayama, obviously a Stayama. Doesn't look like anybody else or anything else. Added to the fact that if you go down a little bit further in the pictures, you'll note that there is a gold necklace with a depiction of a Sasquatch on it. And this thing is absolutely huge. Its hands are huge. Its body is huge. Again, it's like no other creature that exists in the world today. As I said before, they are a very ancient race of beings, and there is a depiction on a tablet of a Stayama as a king. You know, this is showing you in various stages, you know, not all in one fell swoop, just how ancient these guys were. And actually, if you kind of follow it backwards and look at the artifacts, you're going to see that what I was saying, they match up with what I was saying, in that the Steyama history is showing that it's a degeneration. You know, it's a degeneration of their own bloodlines, their own self history is showing that it's a degeneration. And if you look at these tablets and these amulets, you know, you see that's exactly what it is. You know, it starts out as a king. He's, you know, there's a Steyama as a king, you know, and then it shows him being hunted by this man. And then it shows him as an anthropomorphic being, you know, I mean, now he's turned into some type of creature that lives in the woods, you know, type god being. So it's very interesting and fascinating to note just how far they have come since they have lived here for so long. I want to note too that there are some pictures of mine up here, and in them you're going to note that there are some Steyama that look very human. There are some that don't look so human, you know, and then there are some that look like they could definitely be a crossbreed between a human and an ape, you know. And what I'm showing you, or what I'm trying to show you, I guess I could say, is that it's a degeneration of a race of people that existed on this planet and still pretty much do in small, selected, pocket-sized areas in the wilderness and out further. They prefer to be away from humans because of all the bad interaction that they've had in the past with us. So it is of no big consequence to them that they are stuck here, you know, if they get snowed in, or if something bad should happen, you know, they're injured or one of their tribe is injured, they don't need to go out and go down into town because they are made themselves 110% self-sufficient. These guys never have to leave their own camp that they have made unless they want to. You know, unless it's outgrown them or unless it's destroyed from floods or fire or wind or any other type of natural disaster. They're not going to destroy another Sasquatch's house or home or Sasquatch nesting area. They're not going to do that because that is somebody else's area. They're not about that. So they stay and stick to their own areas. I've had people, one of my other students, ask me specifically about Tall Woman, you know, ask what type of being is she. She is a Steyama. She is a brownish red Steyama. I gather from the stories that she has told me of her own upbringing that her father was red and her mother was brown. So she is very capable of taking care of herself, as she has exhibited many times for me. Case in point, wild dogs beware. Tall woman will mess you up. People often wonder about her because I do speak about her in such endearing terms, you know, and at the same time I'm quite afraid, nerve-wracking of her. Not terrified of her. I have a healthy respect for her. Growing up as a child, I have been cuffed by her a couple different times. I've had my hair pulled numerous times. I'm actually quite glad that it's all cut off now, so there will be no pulling of the hair. So I'm safe. I feel pretty safe and confident that she can't pull it. She actually has taught me quite a bit about being the woman that I am, because I learned everything that I think a good mom is by watching her growing up. and watching her, because, as you know, I didn't have a mom. My mom passed when I was 3.5, almost 4. So I watched and I learned from her, you know. And yes, I had my grandmother, but I didn't have her all the time, you know, and she was quite a bit older. So I had Tall Woman and Lemmy and a couple of the other females. But Tall Woman, to me, was the epitome of a good mother. Her babies would cry, she would pick them up constantly. Whereas the other mothers would set them down and leave them to cry, you know. She promoted curiosity, she promoted learning. She was very quick to hand out discipline if it needed it, but at the same time, she was very fair about discipline. I watched her with her own boys, you know, lying in a sense, you know, when it came time to put food away in the food basket, which is a communal food basket. They would not put it in, you know, and she would hop right to it, you know, and get them to do it. She was like, no, she's not putting up with that game, you know. She was just jumping on them to make them do it. She just is a good soul. When it came time to collect salt rocks, she was always the first one to hand them out. If she had more than enough for her and Kiasa and her boys, she made sure that she handed them out to Lemmy, you know, and to Nali and Ipak. She just was always doing these things. And so I learned by watching her. And of all the females, even Lemmy, she was quick to stop me from doing something. If I did something wrong, she corrected me, you know, and people always want to know about her, you know, because I think it's because I have such high respect for her, you know, high regard. Yes, she is a dog killer. I will say that straight up front. She does not like dogs. I'm not sure if it's inbred into her or if it's something that's just adopted from her family, her people, but she does not like dogs. So she is a dog killer. So you have to watch your dogs around her, keep them away from her. And by keep them away from her, I mean within about a quarter mile of her. Otherwise, she will go after them. She does not like dogs in any way, shape, sense, or form. So, that being said, that was a hard lesson to learn. But it was also a lesson that came in my favor as she went after the wild dogs that used to always run the back property. You know, she would always wipe them out and stuff them in the trees, you know. And there's something I want to point out to people. People are so busy, you know, looking for Sasquatch on the ground. You know, they never think to look up, you know, and I really have been telling people for the last 20 years, look up, look up, look up, because there's a reason for that. They live in between the sky and the tree, in the bottom of the ground. You know, they live in the trees. And in doing this, they tend to put their kill, they cache their kills up in the trees, just like a cougar would do, you know. They're not dumb. So when I tell you to look in the trees, it really is for your own safety as well as your own curiosity. Look up there because you're going to find quite a few interesting things up there. You're going to find dead sheep, you know, dead pigs, dead dogs, dead cats, you know, anything dead. You're going to find deer, you know, anything dead is going up in that tree. That's just the way that they are. They can't help it. And until such time as Jenny Craig comes out with a way for them to help them quit stashing things in the trees, they're going to keep doing it. You know, I know that's a smart-ass answer on my part, but it's the truth. You know, I mean, Lemmy, to this day, puts rocks, ribbons, everything that she holds dear is up in a tree. You know, I can climb a tree now and go find something that she's stashed up there. That's just the way that they are. You know, they live up in the trees. They sleep up in the trees. And when they are not, there are exceptions. They dig out burrows. And when I say a burrow, I'm talking this huge cave-like thing underneath the ground. You know, people always think, oh, small cave, you know, small hole for, you know, like a wolf den or something. We're talking about a creature here that's 9 feet, 10 feet tall. So no, it's not small. It's huge. I mean, when I get inside there, I can pretty much stand up inside. Okay, so these things dig down in there. And they dig deep, you know. That's just an FYI thing. I'm sorry I threw that in there, but I kind of thought people should know. Back to tall woman. Tall woman is just different from the other females in that she loves to braid, you know, and like I said before, I always kind of hold back on how they braid, because when people tell me, oh yeah, I've seen how a Bigfoot braids hair, I'm like, really, can you describe it to me, because I'd love to hear about it. Because if you know me and you go through my pictures, and you've been through my pictures, you will note that there is a picture of me with my hair braided by the Sasquatch people, you know, by tall women. And it is done a specific way. You know, it is done a specific way. That's just the way that they are. So I always tell people, you know, tell me how they do it, you know, because I want to hear about it. Because tall woman has been braiding my hair since I was 5 years old. You know, and if it had not been for her, there are many times I think I probably would have had lice and knots and bugs, and you know, that would have been my decoration in my hair. But she's always made sure that I am bug free as a child. She would pull the knots out, you know, and she would make sure that my scalp was always clean to the best of her ability. You know, she always took care of my hair, and she still does if I let her. It's just something that she's very good at. She is just, her personality is very similar to the other Sasquatch people, but at the same time, it's different. So I wanted to share that with you. You know, she's an excellent mother, an excellent person. You know, I don't know what else to call her. She's not a human being, but she is an excellent person. She's a kind, caring person, you know, who will go out of her way to help someone, you know, be they human or not. You know, I've watched her help other Sasquatch that have literally attacked her and hurt her, and she has definitely learned the lesson of turn the other cheek, which, by the way, I did not teach her. She already knew. So I think she is like the best wife in the world for Kiasa. That being said, I think I'm done with this one. So I will stop here today, and we will try another one another day. But I wanted to throw this video up for some people so that way they know about tall woman and the abilities that she has, you know, and the gifts that she brings to the table in her group. And I love her dearly.